This evening, let's explore an excerpt from Yong-jia Xuan-jue's Song of Enlightenment, and then let's meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the good-hearted folks who support this channel on Patreon. This evening, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as young Luke Skywalker on Dagobah, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Good evening, Patricia. Good news. If at any point during the live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type that question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Please chant with me. If the seed nature is wrong, misunderstandings arise, and the Buddha's doctrine of immediacy cannot be attained. Well, that's very important. The author throughout this text has lauded the Buddha's doctrine of immediacy, that enlightenment is at hand, that is not very far away. So let's read on and figure out what is meant by the seed nature. Shravaka and Pratyeka students may study earnestly, but they lack aspiration. Others may be very clever, but they lack prajna. So this is short, sweet, and horrifying. What's going on here? Aspiration here is short for right aspiration, and it's just another name for wishing love. Two types of love. There's aspirational love and active love. For instance, you notice there's no water in the dog's bowl and you feel bad for the dog. That's aspirational love. Then you actually go, fill the bowl with water and set it down before your drooling friend. That's active love. So without without vibrant empathy, liberation, no less enlightenment, is not a possibility. But wait, there's more. Others may be very clever, but they lack prajna. And once again, there's a huge difference between pseudo-intellectual wranglings with theories and really mastering the perfection of wisdom. And to shed a greater light of that, I'd like to revert to a table exploring yin and yang, or yang and yin, from the perspective of Taoist philosophy. So when we approach a Buddhist path from a place of rigidity, fear, being controlling and elitist and competitive and cruel, we might work very diligently, but it's not going to be productive. It's like Peter Pan trying to use a bar of soap to reattach his shadow. There's nothing adhesive about soap. It's a surfactant. On the other hand, on the path of yin, the path of being flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind, this is the spiritually productive path. Whether you apply it to Taoism or Buddhism or being an Episcopalian. If you traverse the path in this manner, you'll be much more satisfied with your results. Let's return our attention to the text at hand. It's a mistake to confuse the path of enlightenment with an Indiana Jones adventure where there's cleverness and puzzles, and X is not supposed to mark the spot, but sometimes it does. If we take a Tomb Raider approach to Buddhism, we're going to be disappointed. But if we really take a simple approach, recognizing the wisdom as simply the wisdom of impermanence, it's simply the wisdom of letting go, understanding that emptiness is only a metaphor for the way things feel after we observe them, when we then relax into our exhalation and find ourselves mentally releasing. If emptiness is less of a theory, it's going to be easier. It's just a metaphor. Many people try to think their way to enlightenment or believe their way to enlightenment, both of which are wrong seed natures. In a few minutes, we're going to hit the meditation instructions. When we apply them correctly, it gives birth to centered spontaneity, which is the happy medium between the two extremes of contrivance and scatteredness. From this place of centered spontaneity, empathy flows, spontaneous and uncontrived. During the midst of meditation, if we exercise the courage to be truly vulnerable with each inhalation and to enthusiastically relax with each exhalation, then we'll experience the visceral wisdom that the Buddha had in mind. Let's turn our attention now to the latest iteration of the easy tantra of Diamond Mind. Let's begin by training our empathy and enthusiasm simply by chanting. May I liberate all beings by practicing Vajrasattva through reliance upon Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Patricia, do me a favor. If you have any difficulty whatsoever reading the font with which I've typed out the name Vajrasattva, do let me know in the chat window. Let's continue. May I liberate all beings by practicing Vajrasattva through reliance upon Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate all beings by practicing Vajrasattva through reliance upon Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Well, that's good to know, Pat. Thank you for the feedback. Let's take a moment to consider this painting. It can be described in Sanskrit as Vajrasattva Karma Mudra. It could be described in Tibetan as Dorje Sempa Yobyum, and in English as Diamond Mind, Mother and Father. Let's take a moment to explore what is meant by Diamond Mind. When we over-rely on our prefrontal cortex, it's bound to mess us up. Who can forget Egon's line in the second to last reel of Ghostbusters. Egan, sorry, Vickman, I'm terrified beyond the point of all rational thought. Good old Vince Lombardi used to say, fatigue makes cowards of us all. So whether we are exhausted or whether we're in turmoil or whether we're just distracted, our intellect can only take us so far. Our emotions can only take us so far. Our belief can only take us so far. But if we rely on the lowest part of our central nervous system, the spinal cord itself, and the autonomic nervous system it contains, and if we rely on that to practice mindfulness and meditation, then we will have something that is always there as long as, we're alive. After death, it's a crap shot. The iconography of this yidam, or archetype of enlightenment, functions merely to organize the 16 figures of speech necessary for deeply transformative contemplations, thus rendering superstition and blind faith unnecessary. Many of us were raised in cultures that talked about a real or imagined parental God, a celestial parent, which is awesome if you had a great parental experience. But if you had a less than great parental experience, then it can really fill us with anxiety, perhaps resentment. One of the problems with grabbing onto the idea of a real or imagined celestial parent is that it keeps us forever children to one degree or another. In the Christian New Testament, in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, it therefore concludes that love is superior to faith. Horizontal love for other creatures roaming about this planet is superior to our vertical devotion to a real or imagined celestial parent. Pretty radical stuff in a Christian New Testament. Now, devotion is great for a child who can't fend for itself, because the closer the child is to their primary caregiver, the more probable the greater the odds they will survive their childhood. But the end of childhood is the dawn of puberty, when all of a sudden reproducing and playing the role of adult and rearing your own children seems like a very good idea. Bob's Burgers had a wonderful episode about that. The middle child of Bob was experiencing an existential threat, and a boy who was also experiencing an existential threat said to her, "I don't want to die a virgin." And she said, "Nor do I." Quickly, the parents intervened. So, once puberty strikes, it kind of shatters parental devotion, often to the dismay of the parent. And all of a sudden, the adolescent experiences acceptance of one's peers becomes profoundly important. So, both in child psychology or developmental psychology and in Christian theology, we see a dichotomy between vertical devotion and horizontal love. So, therefore, we can surmise that regardless of one's path, whether it's secular or religious, one's personal evolution can be thwarted if one subjugates themselves to their parents' will once one is already an adult. I've known people like that. I've known people who are raised in hyper-religious or as organizations, and they were in their 20s, but they still acted like tweens. And it was very disturbing to see. So, this could beg a question. If this is an archetype, why work with an archetype? Because we have evolved to think symbolically. The oldest, deepest parts of our brain evolved to think symbolically. Therefore, there can be a therapeutic application of metaphor and simile. Arguably, the most successful hypnotherapist was Dr. Milton Erickson, MD, and he relied heavily on imagery and metaphor and figures. Let's contemplate wisdom's dance of impermanence and interdependence. We're going to play with 8 rhetorical questions, 4 chanted and 4 silent. Together, what could it look like if all circumstances or lots was fuzzy and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this body or form? As we breathe in, let's silently and mentally recite the first half of the rhetorical question. As we exhale, let's silently and mentally recite the second half. What could it feel like if all forms or bodies blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this interpersonal communication or speech? What could it sound like if all interpersonal speech was blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this mind? What could it be like if all minds blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into a vast empty void? We come now to mindfulness meditation of awareness and letting go, which serve as an antidote to clinging and are known by many names. Let's fix this real quick. We come down to the first silent meditation of the evening, awareness and letting go, which serve as an antidote to clinging and are known by many names, such as Dzogchen and Treksho or Slice Through. Great completion stage Tantra Mahasandhi Ati Yoga Zen Chanjana Sutra Mahamudra. Despite the grandiosity of the names, the fundamental act of mindfulness is simply silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. For each inhalation is wired to automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved not to actively concentrate, but instead to merely notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. The basic act of meditation is this. During each exhalation, we silently and mentally recite the word ease, the verb ease, which functions as a monosyllabic synonym of relax. For every exhalation is wired to effortlessly access our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to physically relax and mentally release. Let's dig in. So this is the label we mentally adhere to whatever emotion we experience, whether it is pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring. Ease is not us trying to dissolve our emotions. It's us making peace. It's us, only thing we're letting go of is our habitual resistance to the present moment. And if you feel resistance, then that becomes the object of our mindfulness and something we accept as well. which is ironic, is it not? Having meditated, we now prepare for contemplation. Mantra meditation, where we train in love and letting go as antidotes to hating. Which are known by many things, such as Generation Stage Tantra, Mantra Yoga, Mahayoga, Tantra Mahamudra, and Tokal or Leap Over. Together. Om, I invoke the Vajra diamond-like strength of us alpha mind will trained in love and letting go. Supplicating with whom may love and letting go be mastered by all. As we chant the mantra, I could feel as if diamond rays were emitting from a thumbnail-sized horizontal six-syllable mantra rosary at our heart. Lavishing all minds, communication, bodies, and circumstances with peace, joy, health, and good fortune centered and spontaneous. May all minds of all beings now be as peaceful and wise as our Buddha's mind, symbolized by a one-syllable mantra known as a seed bija or tea clay drop. During our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can. During our inhalation, we recite this loving intention. Aha. One moment, please. Om Vajra Sattva, 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 Om Vajra Sattva. During the inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the first half of the loving intention. During the exhalation, we silently and mentally recite the second half of the loving intention. May all relationships of all beings now be as joyful and loving as our Buddha's communication symbolized by the six-syllable mantra. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. May whole bodies of all beings know and show the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. May whole circumstances of all beings know me as safe and fortunate as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or Vati. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum Om Vajrasattva Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as no graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. How is it that as we inhale, our circumstances could appear quite vivid, yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a paradise or vati of light? Om Vajra Salva, 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 Om Vajra Salva. How is it that as we inhale all bodies could feel quite sensual, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as an octuple yidam of light? Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication could be quite resounding, yet as we relax into our exhalation it could feel as not graspable as a mantra of light? Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva, Om Vajra Salva. How is it that as we inhale we could perceive our mind's functions quite clearly, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as a seed balloon of light? Om Vajra Salva Hum 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 Om Vajra Salva Hum. We come to our final silent meditation of the evening. This bliss in letting go can serve as an antidote to craving, and it is known by many names, such as Bindu, Mahamudra, and Tikle Drop. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the syllable Hum. As we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the verb ease. Let's seal this evening's practice with 5 well wishes. May all my speech forms and lots be as wise, laughing, healthy, and fortunate as Vajrasattva's ruler imagined suitable mantra archetype in paradise. May all beings like Vajrasattva master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate others. May all beings practice of communication, conduct, and calmness flow spontaneous and uncontrived. At the very end of each being's life, may we take immediate and auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hate and craving and clinging freed. If you feel I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window, you could give this live stream a thumbs up, you could share it with a friend, you could even help support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 11 hours, I look forward to leading tomorrow's early morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.